So yes, good morning. It is that time of the week again. We are working through our clone fragrances, the new clone fragrances I've bought from the Essence Vault. And today we are looking at the Essence Vault 311. It is a clone of Acqua de Joe, just the original Acqua de Joe. Came out in 1996, the year I was born. So hopefully this will be a special fragrance for a special year. I've never owned the original Acqua de Joe. Obviously, it's one of those fragrances that you see online all the time. And I'll be honest with you, when I used to look at it or hear about it on fragrance reviews on YouTube, it never really appealed to me. It was always one of them that you go, it sounds really nice, but it doesn't sound that exciting. You know, it's kind of more of a summery type fragrance. And that's probably why I've never wanted to spend the big money on it over sort of fragrances that are more suited to the winter, those boozy, more vanillic notes that I just think are a little bit more complex, just a little bit more exciting, essentially. But I really wanted to try this one. This was just one that, again, I don't know if I've had the scent DNA of this one before. I know a lot of fragrances have cloned it, and that's why I wanted to get this clone, just to see, have I smelled this type of scent before? Is it something I'd like to wear in the future? And ultimately, would this one be a good one to buy and save me money rather than buying the original, which is why I didn't buy it in the first place. So if you haven't seen my fitness fragrance reviews before, essentially I do a morning workout. I'm going to go for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout, walk back, all while wearing this fragrance. And we'll rank it on 5 categories. So we'll look at its price, we'll look at its versatilities, how much you can use it in different situations, projections, how strong it's coming off my skin and off my clothing, and we'll do a room spray test later to see how much it fills up a room. We'll also look at its compliment factor. Do I think people will say good things about it if you wear it? And then finally, its longevity. How long does it last? And I'll spray miles before I go to the gym. And we'll just see after I've done my walk, my workout, and have a shower if you can still detect the fragrance. But before we go into that, we're going to talk about the note breakdown. What is in the Essence Vault 311? I've started to write what the fragrance is now on the label, just so I don't forget. Now, I have to say, this is a very, very extensive note breakdown from the Essence Vault. I'm very surprised. Now, that might be copying the notes that are obviously in this fragrance originally, and again, came out in 1996, the original Acqua di Gio. Makes me wonder if, again, it probably had a huge note breakdown. A lot of the old school fragrances had huge note breakdowns, but you'll get a sort of general vibe from this. It does say here the scent profile is aquatic and marine. C notes, lime, citrus, cedar, and musk are the main selling points of this. But let's just go through every sort of note in it. Top notes, you've got lime, lemon, bergamot, jasmine, orange, mandarin orange, and neroli. And then in the middle, you've got C notes, you've got jasmine again. And that's what I really picked up. When I first smelled this fragrance, it was the jasmine. It's quite feminine, actually, if anything, this fragrance. Quite surprising. And I do think it is. It's that sort of white floral and very light, airy, springtime floral type smell that I pick up in the opening. And I think neroli is also complementing to that, gives a slight soapier vibe, but also, again, that floral component. You've got cologne, which again apparently is a synthetic accord. I had to look this one up actually because I've seen it a lot lately. It's essentially a synthetic accord that smells aquatic. So again, it's lending probably into with those C notes. You've got peach, freesia, rosemary, hyacinth, cyclame, I think it's pronounced. Violet, again, that cyclame is a floral note. Coriander, so a bit of spice. Nutmeg, again, a bit of spice. Rose and mignonette, I think that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, one thing you really detect in, I did not pick this up straight away, but when I got other people in the house to smell it, particularly my brother, he said it's very rosy, and that is really prominent in this fragrance. So again, there's this real floral component you're getting here. And the rose is a very strong note in perfumery. It's very, very prominent. I didn't know that from, people who've spoken about the original Acqua di Gio in the past. Never heard them talk about rose. It's more the citruses, but the rose is very strong here. And then in the base, you've got white musk. Again, white musk, clean, floral, breath of fresh air type smell. Cedar, oak moss, patchouli, and amber. The oak moss just, again, pushes it a bit more to that masculine side, I would say. And yeah, patchouli has a little bit more depth alongside the amber, just ties the fragrance together, sort of rounds off the edges essentially. But if you're looking at this note breakdown, super big, you're not going to detect all these notes. But what I really get here is the sort of sea aquatic type vibe, again, feeling about being on a beach in the summer. Certainly these white florals, and then that sort of clean musk as well. Don't particularly get a huge amount of citrus in this. There's no sort of sharp citrus if you're, wanting that really nice sharp rindy sort of lemon, for example, lime. I'm not getting that at all. It's much sweeter, it's much more floral, and it certainly just smells very clean, very nice, and just the feeling of summer. So I'm going to put a little bit more on, and then we're going to head out from a run. So we're going to do the first 2 categories: the price I pay for money, and also its versatility. I smell good. I'll see you out there. and we are off, and it's definitely a lot busier around this morning. Easter weekend is over and everyone seems to be back at work, but not me today. I'm out running and reviewing the Essence 311, the Acqua de Joe clone today. So price slash value for money, as we've touched on before if you've seen my videos, all 100ml bottles of these clone phrases on the Essence Vault are $24.99 if you buy them in isolation. Obviously if you bulk buy, you get bundles, you can save yourself a bit of money, but in general it's £25. So do I think for this fragrance here, the Essence 311, £25 is good value for money? Well, I'm going to have to eat a bit of humble pie here, because I said the reason I've never really wanted to buy this one, or the original Acqua de Joe I should say, was because I thought it was going to be a bit of a boring citrus. It is anything but. It is anything but. Now I can't obviously say this fragrance smells exactly like Acqua de Joe. I've not really had this one or really smelled the original Acqua de Joe before, but judging by people's reviews, judging by the notes on Fragrantica, people are pretty happy this smells exactly the same or very, very similar. Nonetheless, it smells amazing. There's a lot of notes in this. There's a lot more complexity than I gave this credit for. But you don't really detect the citrus in the opening, but you might for that very first second or two get that citrus blast, that slight zestiness. Hard to tell whether that's just a bit of an alcoholic blast or the actual fragrance, but it's when you get into the heart and the base of this, that's when this fragrance really, really thrives. There's so many floral notes. It's the florals here that impress me so much. The rose, you know, you've got hyacinth, you've got freesia, you've got the jasmine. The jasmine in this is super prominent. You've got it in the top and the middle of the fragrance, and it just mixes so well with the sea aquatic notes that are also in this fragrance alongside the musk, and it just gives you this nice clean floral approachable scent. And considering this came out in the 1990s, you know, you expect a big note breakdown from those, but I didn't expect something to be, it's a lot more feminine than I thought this was going to be. You know, I always think of these old school scents being a bit more aggressive, a bit more masculine. Yes, it's got oak moss, but that's not the prominent thing here. It's the small watery rose you detect, and it smells well above its weight in terms of price. It really does. We'll obviously go on to versatility next, but I feel this has got a lot of sophistication about it, but also where I think most people wear it, you know, in those more casual settings, it's going to work so well. And if you can get all of that for £25, I don't think you can complain. And so far, and obviously I always say this with clones, I always want a bit of performance with them as well. This one has definitely got that from what I'm spending so far initially, so I'm going to have to give it a really good score. Price slash value for money, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I'm in a good mood, the sun's out, and I think this fragrance is lending into that as well. So 10 out of 10, excellent value for money. I'd happily pay double the price for this. And moving on to versatility for the Essence 311. How much can you dress this one up, dress this one down? Different ages, different occasions, different seasons, all those things. Well, I think the first thing you'll tell when you smell this fragrance, you'll go, this one is built for summer. And of course with those aquatic notes, the citrus notes, a bit of fruitiness from the peach, neroli, all those florals, it does give you that vibe. But because of the rose, because of even the oak moss in this, there's a bit more depth and complexity about it. It goes into many different facets, this fragrance, which means it's absolutely fine to wear in the sort of spring and fall time. I think the only time I wouldn't really choose to wear this one is those really cold mornings. I wouldn't necessarily reach for it. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I wouldn't reach for it over a more sweeter fragrance. And yeah, suit and tie, maybe it's not as much of a statement, because really for me with the musk and everything, this just feels like sitting on the beach going, it's a lovely day to be here today. And this fragrance just puts you in a good mood. It's not as formal, it's not as serious, but those florals, undoubtedly with the jasmine as well, do give a bit more of a grown-up, more sophisticated vibe. So I think people who are, I want to say 25 and up, would have liked this one more. Look, I think this one is just purely marketed for men, but, and it is a more masculine fragrance, don't get me wrong. I think there's a bit of cedar in this as well. But for me, this isn't like, if a woman wore this one, I wouldn't go, oh, that smells really off, that feels really different. It's not a man's man type scent. I think anyone though, 20 to 60 are really going to appreciate this one. But if you're someone who likes Aramis, again, those more suit and tie occasions, maybe not so, but I think this is fine for wearing casually at home. It could be your signature scent in the office, job interviews. If you've got a really pressured day, like I don't know, an exam or something, I think this one will work really well. You know, people are going to have a good impression of you wearing this one. And that means for me it's got signature scent potential. You can wear this pretty much through the whole year, day or night, and yeah, most situations it's never going to feel wrong, even on a date. I think this is going to leave a good impression. So for that reason, I've got to be really good to it again. I'm just going to mark it down that 0.5 just because it's not as good in those suit and tie cases. Personally, for someone like myself, I'd want something else, just a sweeter phrase, a bit of a caramel type scent or a smoky scent, just to complement this. But look, if you just wanted this one, it's still going to tick the boxes for most people. But for those who may be a little bit more into their scents, like a little bit more variety, I think you're still going to want one more to complement this. But other than that, I'm nitpicking there, 9.5 out of 10. When we get back, we will talk about projection, how much I'm noticing at the moment during my run. The workout done, it is now time to spray my room to test for projections. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So again, essentially, I want to see how much this fragrance fills up a room. So if a colleague, you're in the office, would they detect the fragrance? If you're at home, sitting in your room, would someone come in and go, oh, it smells really nice in here? That's what I want to see, if this fragrance can fill up that room. So the other thing I need to do now, before I go down and have my coffee, is just spray my arms 3 times. So this is the test for longevity later. Obviously, I'll be walking to the gym, do a gym workout, have a shower. Won't apply the fragrance. It's about 9:10 now. So essentially 3 hours ago. It might be about 12:10 by the time I leave. We'll see how much of the fragrance we can still smell. But let's head downstairs. Let's talk about how much I noticed the fragrance during my run. Lovely. Anyway, let's talk about projection then. Of the Essence Oil 311, the Acqua Glow during my run. How much did I notice it? Probably about 4 or 5 times. Like, it wasn't excessive notice it, but it also didn't notice it at all. I noticed it right at the end when I was stretching. That's 2 hours after I left. So that's a really good sign. That shows the projection is pretty good, particularly if you're not doing a workout. The wind also really picked up as I was doing my run. And I thought that might actually help the fragrance. I thought it might, blow that sort of nice musky smell, which, I was really noticing. It's the jasmine, the rose, and the musk that I really noticed, particularly at the start of the run. And I just thought that would kick through the wind, but it didn't particularly. What I did notice, the fragrance actually changed more than anything. It became more salty, and people do talk about it on fragrance because this sort of marine vibe. And I do think the sea notes and the notes in that middle of the fragrance definitely started to kick through, and that's what made it really pleasant. I really, really like those sea sort of notes. And I do think a bit in the neroli, that slight soapiness seemed to also come through as well. It's a lovely fragrance. I can't get sick of it. It is a really, really good scent, and it does have this staying power. I can smell it. See where I applied on my hand a minute ago. At the moment, it's still in that sort of jasmine type fade. It smells a little bit like a shampoo or women's shampoo, but it's very nice, very pleasant, and yeah, very sophisticated. I think this could fill a room because of the florals, but we'll finish this drink, we'll head upstairs, and then we can give a score overall on projection. Up the stairs we go, and let's see what we can detect. Ooh. So I'm not getting anything at the top of the stairs. Come into my room now. Yeah, it's not super strong. It's not super strong. I feel like it's going to be one of those fragrances again, because it doesn't have those vanillic, sweet, powdery notes in the same way. It doesn't linger in the air in the same way. I think you'd almost have to sit in the room for this fragrance to be more noticeable. But it's definitely there. It's about 40% as strong as probably when it's actually sprayed at full capacity. Someone would notice it. Put it this way. If you're in the room, people are going to notice it. It is going to fill a room. People are going to say nice things about it. It's going to... Yeah, I think what it is with this one, there is that element of if it was too strong because of the florals, I think it could be overpowering and a little bit too much, a bit headache inducing, a bit nauseating. So I think it's probably got it right here. I think it doesn't want to be any stronger than this anyway. So what do we give it as a score? This is really tough because it was okay for my run and it's okay now. It's not terrible. It's not top level strength, but I don't think you want it to be either. I think you want it to be in the middle. Do I then give it full marks for that? No, because I think some people, and like myself, I do like beast mode fragrances. I don't necessarily want this one to be, but I think it could be a little bit stronger. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's really almost bang on what it should be. But if you're someone who's really wanting that extra strength, that extra performance, like notice me, this probably wouldn't be the fragrance for you. But if you just want it to be that fragrance where you're going to get nice comments, this is going to get noticed in a room, certainly during the day if you've been sitting in it. I think this one will certainly do the job without being too nauseating. But what we're going to do, we're going to head to the gym now. We'll talk about compliment factor on the way down. Do I think with the Essence Vault 311 you can get compliments? Right, so let's talk compliment factor for the Essence Vault 311. Do I think this clone of Acqua de Joe can get compliments? Yes, I do. Look, again, we've got to reiterate, clone fragrances are around because they're popular, and normally they're popular because people have given them good attention. I never wear a fragrance with the intention of not getting people to say nice things, or not thinking it could be something that other people around me like as well. Obviously I wear it for myself, but there's no two ways about it. This is an easy to pull off type of fragrance. This is the scent, when you look at all the notes in it, they're still around in many modern fragrances, so there's nothing too divisive about this. It's obviously more suited towards the summertime, and those notes tend to be easier to wear, easier to pull off. However, I would say with this one, and I don't want this to sound too critical, I feel like this is the sort of one where if you've got a compliment on it by someone, let's say at work, it's the sort of one where they mention it only once. They might just say first and oh, you smell really nice, and that's it. And sometimes I've had fragrances where, you know, you've worn it and you've crossed paths with that person 2-3 times in a day, and they keep saying to you, that's your lovely scent again, or oh, that's really nice. That they almost just can't stop telling you how nice it smells. I don't know if this one is that sort of scent. I think it's one where people almost mention it once and that's it, because it's just very pleasant, but it's nothing, again, it's nothing too statement in my opinion. It's not really meant to be for those statement dress up occasions. Not that you couldn't do that though, as we touched upon earlier. I just don't think it's the number one choice I would go for. I'd want something a little bit more sweeter, but other than that, it's great. It's again, it makes you smell clean, fresh, sophisticated, well looked after, and just ultimately it's a happy scent. That's what I like. This is one, again, I'd just wear this one to buy for myself, just to take on holiday, because it feels like that vacation type of fragrance. So yeah, I always say compliments are great. You will get compliments with this one because I think the performance on this is good enough too, and it will just, I think you'll just enjoy it yourself as much as anything, because it is very calming. And use it for scent memory. I feel that this is a really good scent memory fragrance, one where, again, you'll remember that holiday you took it, to, down in Cornwall or something, which is a popular place to go, or in the Caribbean, or to America, wherever you go on holiday. I think this one would just be brilliant, certainly if you're on like a sun lounger, it's that type of scent. So I'm going to give compliment factor. These are tough today. Let's be nice, 9 out of 10. I think it can do every job in pretty much every situation, even if it's not necessarily number one in those more intimate occasions. But other than that, everyday type scent where people will say nice things about you, and that also will make you feel good, it's pretty much ticks the box. And of course, if we get in the gym today, we'll bump it up to a 10. But we'll stick for a 9 for now. So I've just left the gym. It is around 10 past 12, having a shower, done my workout, all while wearing Essence Vault 311. It's been 3 hours since I applied it on my arms. It's time to test for longevity and see if it has survived. Yeah, it's undoubtedly still there. Now, is it really strong? No, it's probably about 40% as strong as when I applied it, maybe 45 to 50% at the push. To be honest, that's probably what I'd want it to be, because what I'm noticing now is it's more the jasmine and the white florals that are really kicking through. And as you can tell, it's quite windy, and I think if I had this sprayed on my neck and it was, say, 80-90% strong, I think I'd find it a little bit too much. It'd almost be a bit nauseating, a bit headache inducing, and I probably wouldn't enjoy the fragrance as much, because, when you buy a 100ml bottle, sometimes I really like it, I think, oh great, but I get 10-20ml down on it, particularly if it's a strong one, and I think, I don't really like this one anymore. So in the case of this, I'm quite glad it sort of dropped a little bit on its longevity, and it feels very pleasant. As you can tell, there's a real, as I said a minute ago, a real breeze. This just feels like that breath of fresh air fragrance, and as long as you don't overspray it, I think the longevity is going to get you through the day more than enough. You're going to be more than happy with it. People are going to notice. They're going to be walking behind you thinking, oh, that person smells really nice with his white t-shirt on. And it's good. But can I say it's the strongest in terms of longevity in some of the ones I've had before? Definitely not. It's about 40%, and for that reason I've got to mark it down a little bit, even though I think it works to its benefit in the case of this scent. We'll go 8 out of 10. I'm going to give it an 8. I was going to go 7.5, but actually I think this is going to have more staying power than even I give it credit for. It's only been 3 hours. Do I think it'll still be there in 20-30% strength in 2 hours time? Probably so. I think it's going to get you through the day, and it's a warm day today, and it's still survived, hot shower, hot workout, all those other things. So it is not bad at all, and certainly for £25 it's more than enough. We are back, finally back. It is 1:28 p.m. I have done 41,859 steps, all while wearing this fragrance today, the Essence Vault 311, the Acqua de Joe clone. So what was the total score for this fragrance based on the 5 categories we looked at? It's done so much better than I realised. I didn't realise I'd given it such a high score today. 44 out of 50. I didn't expect that at all. I really didn't. Look, when I bought these 6 clone phrases, which I'm working through at the minute, this was kind of one where I was like, I wanted the creeds. They were the ones I wanted, and I was like, what other ones do I get? And it was really just the fact I know a lot of people like Acqua de Joe, and I thought, let's just try it. There's no risk with it. This is probably the only time I'm going to go for it. I'm so glad I have. I'm so glad I've gone for a clone. I didn't realise this scent was so floral. Okay, I know it's not the original, it's a clone, but when you look at the notes in it, the DNA, and people saying it's very similar, yeah, it is much, much better. It's not a boring citrus, as I said at the start of the video. It is far better than that, and the florals are the real selling point to me. And that even though it got marked down today, I've only marked it down in comparison to other fragrances. I'm glad, as I just touched upon a minute ago with the longevity one, I'm glad it's not really, really strong. I'm glad the projection isn't enormous in one go, because otherwise this would become headache inducing. It hits exactly where I want this fragrance to do it, and it just feels very calming, very relaxing, and it will make you feel like summer, clean, fresh, inviting, and it can be a signature scent. And if you can get a signature scent for £25, then absolutely great. It is fantastic. I love it. I really do. I'm going to spray a little bit more just to remind myself. I don't need to remind myself. I can smell it absolutely fine. Put it this way. If this smells 100% the same as the original, which again, I don't want 100% the same, but it'll be 80-90% the same. If that phrase came out 30 years ago, essentially, and it certainly doesn't feel as alpha male. I can see why, essentially, it's lasted the test of time. It does feel like it's going to be timeless. 30, 40 years' time, that isn't going to smell out of date at all. And yeah, a really good one from the Essence Vault. I wasn't particularly impressed with Aventus clone yesterday, the Essence Vault 200 plus. Thankfully, this one's pulled it back. If I had to pick out of the two, I'd certainly be getting this one as my summer type fragrance over the other one. But yeah, really, really happy with it. I think if anyone's interested, knows that's in DNA, that's definitely one you can get. Definitely one you can get. I do think, though, you don't want it to be too much strong. I don't think it's the most natural smelling fragrance in the world, but it's fine. And you're probably now wondering, what am I holding in my hand? Well, as you normally see when I do these videos, I don't particularly edit them very well. I want to try and just get more content out, essentially, and give me a purpose on the workout. So you sometimes see me pressing the button at the end while I'm trying to sort of crop it out when I'm doing my video editing on the treadmill. I bought, which looks like a selfie stick, which it is, but it is also a tripod. So soon there's a little remote control on here as well. Hopefully some of my videos will be a little better, because I'm going to be putting the clips on the tripod and filming it from that as well. So yeah, I spent a little £5 gift to myself. I think this was £11 actually, but I had a little £5 voucher. Thought it was worth using and spending it for that. So hopefully you'll see some better edited videos soon, but I quite like the fact they're a bit unedited, a bit unscripted. So hopefully makes it more real to all of you watching it as well, because again, these are just my own opinions. Everyone's got an opinion on fragrances, but my opinion today on this one is fantastic. And definitely, if you know Acqua de Joe, try this clone. For £25, you can't really go wrong. But thank you very much for watching today. About to head out for a walk, and I'm going to be trying a women's fragrance. Yes, a women's only fragrance. One of my mum's one, which I can smell at the moment in her room, and it is lovely. So I'm going to give that a proper review for those of you who do watch this channel. So thanks for watching today. Better get out there. Catch you later.